Hey everyone, this is Gaming Dads here. I want to walk through an unofficial star farming guide for mob control. It's not going to be a high action gameplay video. Instead, it's going to be more explanative to kind of answer a question that I get a lot, and that would be, how are some players getting millions of stars on the leaderboards? Have you ever looked at the rankings and thought that doesn't seem possible? Well, this video is meant for you if you've ever asked that question. So just to kind of set some context here, we'll go to the current Eternal tier. And at the top there, you see 4 million, 3 million, 2 million for 1, 2, and 3. So the question I'm trying to answer today is, how is that possible? Well, quick disclaimer up front. This guide is unofficial. It's based on what I've personally observed and experienced. There are a lot of strong players out there who may be doing other things I'm not aware of. First and second and third place that I just showed you, they may do something different than what I'm about to talk about. So sharing what I know, not claiming this is the only way to play or the absolute best way, but just something that I know. So really there are three things to keep in mind here. I've put them in three buckets. When it comes to farming stars at a high level, it's really Pinatas, direct attacks, and then Lootboxer. So really the first two are where the stars come from, and the third is kind of how you can stack on top of that. You get those extra stars that you can kind of just grind through. So let's walk through them in order. First of all would be Pinatas. Most players are familiar with Piñatas already. You know, you've got your coins, your bricks, and your stars, and they just keep repeating as you go through your routine play. So you want to be using Lootboxer for your routine maps as you go through things. Wouldn't use them for Piñatas. I've got a separate set of videos on how to maximize for Piñatas, but keep in mind that Piñatas are a really good way to get star income and get as much as you can from those. Again, as far as boosts go, if you don't have skip-its, it does limit the things a little bit for you. But if you do have skip-its and you're willing to use them, that's going to help you get more stars consistently. So at a minimum, you'll want to watch an ad to at least get something such as fast charge or 10x multiplier. It depends on the map. Generally, I would say the fast charge is going to be a little better for you because you can get your champions out there sooner to do more work faster if you have to pick one. But between the two of those, they're pretty good. So on Piñata's loadout guidance, I generally resort to something like Big Bertha. And then for a mob, you would probably want something quick and gives you a little bit of damage. So something like Ninja or Alien or Bat. You could even go with Raccoon if you wanted to. So, and then of course for your champion, I do recommend that you go with Syrian because of that buff that he can put on the mobs. You want the mobs to do the damage on the Piñata to get you what you're looking for. So expectations wise, I would say you're looking at 10, 20, 30k stars in a good situation for most players. The max on stars, if you use all your boosts and have every level maxed, would be 75k. So keep that in mind. So for the second bucket, this is where the real magic happens, and that would be direct attacks. So if you're not familiar with direct attacks, there's two things to keep in mind. On the home screen here, below the defense base, the one at the bottom in the middle, generally when you have a new attack come through, you'll see some green flashing arrows and some crossed swords kind of diagram. That's going to be the indicator that you want to swipe up, and then you'll get kind of a list of like flags planted in the ground down there to show you what your attacks are. So that's how you kind of trigger the incoming attacks that are there, kind of update your screen, is what I mean. And then eventually they will live in this bell icon on the lower left. So if you click on the lower left, see where next to the piggy race icons there's that bell, that's where your direct attacks will list. I won't be able to go in there for this video, but trust that if you click inside there, you'll have a list of attacks, excuse me, and there'll be two different buttons you can press, a green one or a yellow one. Green ones are revenge, and then yellow ones are counters. They're basically just battles like you've already played before, but you have extra multipliers that stack on those. So generally, if you max out best case, you're going to get a 16 times effect for revenges and a 24 times effect for counters. So that's why they're so awesome. If you get the maximum 20k bricks, you can end up with 360k from revenge, 480k from counters. So it's still mob control. It's still the same thing that you're doing, just extra bonuses. That's why they're so powerful. So it's also worth noting that you get more coins and more bricks as you're doing those. So as you're going through the game, you get extra benefits such as being able to level up your bases faster, buy more upgrades, things of that nature. Cards too. I forgot cards. Yeah. So how do you trigger these? How do you get them? It's not just a limited direct attacks wherever you want. You have to keep in mind the cooldown timer. So when you're pressing on, let's say you go to your clan list, select a member. It'll pop up a kind of a little menu, like a pop-up menu option where you can see what the cooldown timer is. At its highest, it'll be 24 hours. Eventually, it'll count down to 1 second and then 0, and then it'll change to a green attack button. So that's when you know you can attack somebody and initiate that attack. So that timer is kind of how you can start things. But the rest of it comes down to players that are active, competitive, and continue to return attacks. So you have to find somebody that is willing to play the way that you're willing to play. So if you're casual, you won't get too many attacks. If they're casual, same thing. But if they're active, competitive, focused on a piggy race event, then they're going to return attacks, and you can go back and forth really forever. That back and forth is called a volley. And most high-ranking players, if not all high-ranking players, are doing that. They're coordinated, they're active, they're focused on the piggy race, and they find some people and they keep them in that list as long as they can. So you're going to have to be, watching for that sort of thing. So some other things to keep in mind, kind of winding down this video, would be time. No sugarcoating. This is not a passive thing. You're going to want time to grind. You're going to be able to respond quickly. You're going to be, wanting to manage cooldowns if you're trying to build your list back up. So it's part of the reason why not everyone does this. It does require a lot of planning. And that's really part of why clans exist. So last thing just to kind of mention, Lootboxer, he's unique because he's the only champion in the game. Whoops, sorry about that. He's the only champion in the game that will generate stars. So, the whole point of this guide is star farming. So as you're doing your maps, you get stars from him. Best case, you can get about 300 base stars take from a map. The multipliers on the counters and revenges do multiply those stars. So the range that you'll see on a counter or a revenge could be anywhere from 1,000 to 7,000 stars per map, depending on how well you're doing with Lootboxer. Again, don't use Lootboxer for Pinatas, but he's definitely going to help you shine on routine map play, direct attacks, really anywhere you can earn stars that's not a Piñata. So Lootboxer is really helpful for that. Let's see here. I think that is about the size of it. If I've forgotten anything, please drop a comment or a question, and I'll do my best to clarify. It's very nuanced how this aspect of the game works. It's not really about speed. It's about star efficiency. So, speed runs are one thing, but getting stars in an efficient manner is another thing. You want to return attacks, max out as much as you can, as quick as you can, so you can squeeze in as many of those cycles into a racing time frame, especially when it's, say, a piggy flash. So, what did we cover here? We cover Piñatas, nail them as quick as you can, try to max out 75k if you can. Direct attacks, find attack partners, return attacks often, regularly, I would say every day if you can. Definitely every 2 days, because if you keep something in your list for too long, it can drop off, and then you lose that, and it's very difficult to get it back. And of course, Lootboxer, use him, if you want to be competitive, use Lootboxer all the time, except for Piñatas. So that's really what it is. There's no exploit, no trick, no secret button. It's just grinding under the right conditions and understanding how the systems stack. So I believe that's it. Probably raises, again, some questions. It's a lot to take in. So if you got comments, experiences, things that you've noticed yourself, feel free to drop them below. I'm always interested in hearing how other players approach this. But good luck out there. It's been another victory for Gaming Dads. Gaming Dads out.